So this is the new Apple Watch Ultra 2, which hosts a whole bunch of new technologies, both hardware as well as software. And a lot of those new software experiences are powered by the new hardware. So in this video, I'm going to dive into all those new hardware pieces and the new software pieces step by step. But stay tuned, hit the subscribe button for a full in-depth review here in the very near future. The very first item on the list is the new S9 chipset inside. That's basically Apple's silicon chipset, their own homegrown chipset that enables all the processing that happens inside the Apple Watch. Apple claims that that new chipset has 5.6 billion transistors and is 60% more than the previous chipset, and along with that, a new GPU that is 30% faster and a 4-core neural engine that is twice as fast at machine learning. Now, that is just a lot of tech gobbledygook, but how it translates into things that you actually use varies by the feature. So just using these watches like just normal usage, frankly, you don't notice at all. But instead, Apple is leveraging those features for new things like new Siri capabilities that's offline, for example, that I'll dive into in just a second. However, the star of the show here is the new double tap feature. That allows you to go simply just raise your wrist like this and double tap to iterate through different actions. So as you double tap from the watch face, you're going to iterate through effectively like little widgets that show you things that are coming up in your day. Those are all part of watchOS 10, but you can use it as other actions as well. For example, if a phone call is coming in, you'll go ahead and simply double tap to answer the call. Or if you don't like that telemarketer, you can double tap to hang up on them as well. The same is true for a camera. You can double tap to start the camera on your phone to take a picture, as well as other different applications can leverage it. However, not all applications are using it today. For example, in the sport mode, it doesn't do anything yet today, and there are probably plenty more scenarios as well that'll undoubtedly over time gain that functionality. And hey, just a quick note, if you're finding this video interesting or useful, now's a great time to whack that like button at the bottom there. It really does help with this video and the channel quite a bit. The next big update is the display. It goes from 2,000 nits up to 3,000 nits. The previous Apple Watch Ultra still had more in the existing Apple Watch Series 8, which had 1,000 nits, and that in the Series 9 goes to 2,000 nits. But with this new flashlight, you basically get better daytime kind of bright light performance. So if you were outside, it's really sunny, you would see that. Indoors, it's not going to matter very much, but out in the bright sun on top of a mountain, you might notice that. Inversely, at the other side of that spectrum, they've also reduced the minimum nit brightness from 2 nits to 1 nit. And that may not sound like a lot. It's not in the grand scheme of things, but it's a lot from a battery saving standpoint if you're talking an always-on display. You're basically having the battery requirements there. Apple then took those battery savings and reinvested them into other chipset components that basically consume that same battery. So at the end of the day, you're gonna have the same battery life, but you get more power behind that. Additionally, with that new brighter display, you've got flashlight boost mode, which allows you to use the display up to the full 3,000 nits for the flashlight function. And you can iterate through that as well using the double tap feature, or just using the digital crown to increase or decrease the brightness as you go along. Next, Apple's leveraging the ambient light sensor that's inside the Apple Watch Ultra. That's not new to the Apple Watch Ultra 2, and it's been there since the previous version as well, except they're using it now to go ahead and automatically dim the display accordingly based on that ambient light sensor, primarily at night. Next, there's the new Ultra Wideband 2 chipset. That allows more precise finding. So if you've had an iPhone in the past and you've used Find My to find some sort of device, primarily AirTags, for example, it would show you the exact direction as well as the distance to that AirTag. That same functionality is now coming to the Apple Watch Ultra 2. It allows you to go ahead and find your thing, whether it be your phone or other items, with that same sort of precision to be able to kind of go left or right and how far away from the object you are. Next, there's the new modular watch face. This allows up to 7 different data fields of customization on that watch face. You can see you can go through these, you can customize each one of those different complications as you see fit. Again, up to 7 of them, which is more than any previous Apple Watch face has had in the past. Now, with that new neural engine, Apple's also leveraging Siri to work completely offline depending on what you ask it to do. So if you're asking to do tasks that are basically just within the watch or within your phone, it'll do that offline, and it won't require cellular or Wi-Fi connectivity. That's useful in cases where you simply don't have that kind of connectivity to do that. Likewise, Apple's also rolling out an update later on this year that allows Siri to ask and write into questions for Apple Health. For example, it can say, update my weight for the day, or it can ask how your sleep was last night. Other scenarios that leverage that entire health database behind the scenes. Now, despite all these changes, the battery life isn't changing. It's staying at the same 36 hours it was in the past, or 72 hours on low power mode. Again, this is really about reinvesting some of those different things into keeping that same battery life across the board. I think that's really the only criticism I have at this point, is that I'm not sure who asked for faster processing or even a brighter display because it is such an incredibly bright display already. I would have probably gone with battery life, it was just me, but that's something I'll be looking at in my full review over the next little while here. Likewise, there's no change in either heart rate sensor or GPS. The heart rate sensor, though, it is of course very, very accurate, so no big issue there for not being any different. There's a few more kind of hardware things, or maybe they're more software, which is a whole slate of new watch bands. You can see I'm wearing one right now, primarily just new colors. And then with that is a whole bunch of changes around how they make the Apple Watch, and that all the Apple Watch editions now are using 100% clean energy. And then those watches using titanium are now using 95% recycled titanium, as in the past it was just all brand new titanium, so a pretty significant reduction there as well. And then like Suunto, another watchmaker, Apple is going ahead and compensating for the entire lifespan of the watch. They're going ahead and figuring out how much energy it's going to take to charge that watch over the lifespan of this watch and compensating that environmentally. So it's effectively a carbon neutral device, the very first one that Apple's made to date. Last but not least, we got the price, and it remains the same at $799, and it'll be available on September 22nd. You can order it today, but it'll start shipping on September 22nd. As always, if you found this video interesting and useful, simply whack that like button at the bottom there, or subscribe for plenty more Spark technology goodness. Also, don't forget to check out my full Apple Watch Series 9 preview video up in the corner up there. And of course, stay tuned for the full in-depth reviews here in just a little while. With that, have a good one.